Hey guys, I'm Sage Valentine. Right now I'm going to give you my opinion on tonight's episode of The Walking Dead. Honestly, I really hope that Glenn's death was nothing more than a dream sequence or just a thought or just a hallucination or something. I hope that that was not the truth because Glenn deserves a better death. I know how messed up that sounds, but it's the truth. He does. And the fact that, like, he was getting ripped open and then we just went straight to another scene was completely upsetting. On top of the fact of, I heard a rumor about that scene, and I mean, honestly, I was expecting what happened, but that didn't mean that I didn't get upset and have to pause the video and leave for a couple of minutes and then come back, because I did. And honestly, I was pretty upset when Noah died because of the way that he died, and now I'm feeling like I felt a couple months ago, earlier this year, and transferring those feelings onto what happened with Glenn. Honestly, I can't stand the Alexandrians at all because they don't listen. All they do is question, and honestly, some of them ended up causing their own deaths. For example, take the dude who questioned Rick and then decided to go off on his own and got his throat ripped off or ripped out by that walker. He kind of had it coming, but still, if he had stayed with the group, he would have been safer. I'm not saying he would have made it back to Alexandria in one piece, but at least he would have lived for a couple more minutes. Then you had Sturgis, who decided he wanted to go, and that was the dude with the hat, running off to find his way back to Alexandria, like he actually knew where it was, and he knew how to get through a huge herd of walkers, which I'm going to call the Million Walker March. He didn't make it far, as he became a walker snack. I'm glad that Michonne told off Heath and told him about himself, because Heath has good intentions. Heath is a big help when it comes to a situation like what the group kind of dealt with in this episode. Heath was like a fish out of water. He had never dealt with killing anybody, as Michonne basically said. He had never had people's blood on him to the point where he didn't know if it was his blood, the walker's blood, or somebody else's blood. But he did essentially, after the guy that got bit on his back was killed and his blood was basically splattering everywhere. But the thing is that, like, Heath was adamant about believing what he overheard Rick saying. But Rick did not say, like, you just gotta leave these people now and run off. He said if it gets to be too much, and I'm assuming he was talking about the herd just barreling down on them and they can no longer carry the weight of the injured, they're going to have to leave them behind. See, that's the whole thing about overhearing things, and you don't hear every single thing. Because obviously Glenn and Michonne were not going to leave anybody behind. And that was shown in this episode. They took the injured with them. Unfortunately, those people ended up getting killed. The girl with the ankle got devoured. The guy that was bit on his back ended up getting torn up. And obviously what happened with Nicholas and Glenn, because Nicholas clearly was injured himself, because mentally he was just not there. Like, of all the places for the group to descend upon, even though it wasn't intentional, for them to descend upon this town where Aiden and Nicholas left behind those people that were in their group, and then Nicholas started to kind of have flashbacks to the point where he started spacing out a little bit. Yeah. Honestly, the group could have just left him behind while he was spacing, but they decided to take him with them. See what I'm saying? This episode definitely had a lot of, like, nail-biting moments. Besides the one when Glenn basically was knocked into the crowd. I think the one moment that really got me had to be that moment when Michonne and that guy were hanging off the gate, and I was just like, oh my god, those walkers are going to pull down Michonne, and then they're going to pull down that guy, and especially after what happened with Glenn and Nicholas, I'm just like, okay, the Walking Dead writers, Robert Kirkman, all of them, they just want to like pile it on. They want us to be upset about Glenn, then they want us to be upset about somebody else. But as soon as they pulled that dude down, I was still afraid that Michonne was going to get killed until she ended up going over that gate. And another scene that got me was the scene in the RV when Rick had to fight those guys, and then he basically had to shoot up the RV on the side, and he had to like try to restart the RV and it wouldn't start, and then like to see all those walkers at the end just like, you know, coming out and coming towards the RV, and I'm like, oh my god, Rick needs all the help he can get. Hopefully in the next episode somebody comes to his aid. Maybe Daryl and them could come and help him. He needs all the help that he can get at this point. That is not to say that I think Rick is going to die during this season or anytime soon or even at all, but just still I was worried about Rick. And in closing, I understood when Sasha and Abraham were a little upset that Daryl wanted to go off on his own, not only because of the fact that all those walkers were following behind them in that car and Sasha wasn't, you know, 100% secure behind the wheel, but because Daryl going off on his own is making me a little bit uneasy, especially after what I saw in the trailer with Daryl and that dude who had a gun to Daryl's face, and I am just like completely on the edge of my seat with this season. And I think that's about it, guys. If you want to talk about anything else in regards to this episode or this season so far or The Walking Dead in general, definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking also about the season so far, and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to my brand of crazy. Also, rate this video and hit me up on Google Plus and Twitter at Sage Valentine. I've got a crap load of Sleepy Hollow reviews to do this week since the World Series is on, so I won't be watching that one. But sorry guys, but I'll be doing those reviews and they'll be up pretty soon. But take care, and I love you guys. Until next week, hopefully Glenn is alive, but if not, I'm gonna be a very sad soul at Walker Stalker. Alright guys, love you all. Bye guys. Bye.